Chinese government has stated that the Chinese defense minister will visit Russia on a 3-day official visit from April 16th to 19th. The Chinese Defense Ministry went on to add that the Chinese Defense Minister Shangfu was invited by the Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu on an official visit. China has released new footage of their military drills around Taiwan. The video shows Air Force troops gearing up and flying fighter jets in the air while soldiers operate military equipment at unidentified locations. China began the exercises, including simulated precision strikes with bombers and missile forces on April 8th. This came after the Taiwanese president returned from the U.S. after meeting the U.S. House Representative Speaker Kevin McCarthy. China's 3 days of drills formally ended on April 10th, but Taiwan has reported continued activity on a reduced scale. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has stated that China's Civil Aviation Authority will forewarn and issue notices in advance for any space activities they conduct. The advance notices and announcements issued for space activity include the range of airspace that may be affected. The Foreign Ministry spokesperson also said that earlier reports on China setting up a no-fly zone are inaccurate. South Korea and the United States conducted a joint air exercise involving 2 US B-52 bombers on April 14th. In footage provided by South Korea's Defense Ministry, the United States B-52H bombers and F-16 fighter jets along with South Korea's F-35A fighter jets can be seen flying in a formation. The air drill came after North Korea test-fired a new solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile on April 13th. North Korea has criticized recent U.S. South Korea joint military exercises as escalating tensions and has stepped up weapon tests in the past month. North Korea has confirmed that it tested a new solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile, the Hwasong-18, to radically promote the country's nuclear counter-attack capability. North Korea's state media also warned of extreme uneasiness and horror to their enemies. South Korea reported that North Korea fired what appeared to be a new model ballistic missile yesterday. This triggered a scare in northern Japan, where the J-alert system mistakenly notified that a missile might land in Japanese territory. And according to North Korea officials, the missile fired from near Pyongyang flew about 1,000 kilometers before landing in the waters east of North Korea. A bus carrying Israeli tourists fell sideways in Cheongju, located in the central region of South Korea, killing 1 and injuring 34 people. Among the total of 35 people on board, 33 of them were Israeli tourists, including a woman believed to be in her 60s who was killed in the crash. The driver reportedly told police that the vehicle rolled back a hill towards the passengers' hotel while changing gears. South Korean police have stated that they will conduct an inspection with the fire department and the National Forensic Service to investigate the cause. The Chinese Foreign Minister Xing Guang has reiterated China's stand on the Ukraine crisis and said that China would not provide weapons to any warring party. The statement came after he met with his German counterpart Annalena Baerbock in Beijing. China has refused to condemn Russia for the war in Ukraine and has avoided calling it an invasion. China has maintained that the security concerns of Russia should be respected. In response to growing concerns about China providing weapons to Russia, the Chinese Foreign Minister said that China will not provide arms to Russia and will control the exports of military or dual-use products. Brazilian President Lula da Silva met with the head of China's National People's Congress in Beijing on April 14. Lula was scheduled to meet with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping to reset relations with Brazil's largest trade partner after a frosty 4 years under his far-right predecessor, Jair Bolsonaro. Lula also attended the inauguration of the former Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff as head of the multilateral new development bank set up by Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, collectively known as the BRICS countries. The Taiwanese President Tai Ing-wen thanked fighter pilots who scrambled against China's air force during its drill around the island and pledged to keep strengthening the armed forces. In the central Taiwanese city of Taichung, Tai met fighter pilots who are often stationed at the frontline air base of Mangong in the Taiwan Strait. She thanked them for their hard work and for sticking to their posts around the clock as Beijing's military activities around Taiwan have been on for the last 3 days. The FBI has arrested Jack Douglas Teixeira, a 21-year-old member of the U.S. Air National Guard, a week after the leaks of the classified U.S. intelligence documents became widely known. Federal agents in an armored car and military gear swooped in on the prime suspect at his home in Massachusetts. This leak of documents is believed to be the most serious security breach since the WikiLeaks incident in 2010, when more than 700,000 US documents were released on a website. Former U.S. President Donald Trump answered questions for nearly 7 hours on the second day of his deposition. The ongoing civil lawsuit was brought against him by the New York Attorney General, Letitia James. The lawsuit accused him and others, including 2 of his children, of a decade-long scheme to manipulate property values and his net worth in order to obtain favorable loans and tax benefits. Trump is seeking the Republican nomination for the 2024 presidential election and has said that he will run even if he is convicted. A tech executive has been arrested for the murder of a Cash App founder, Bob Lee, in San Francisco. The Cash App founder was found stumbling through the streets of San Francisco at around 2:30 a.m. on April 4th, bleeding from a stab wound, and later died of his wounds at a hospital. The tech executive is a 38-year-old founder of software company Expanded. He was arrested on suspicion of murder, and according to the San Francisco police, the two knew each other but declined to answer why they were together that night. Florida's Republican-led House of Representatives have given their final approval to a 6-week abortion ban in Florida and across the U.S. South. The legislation, which makes exceptions for abortion in cases of rape, incest, and when the mother's life or health are at serious risk, next heads to the desk of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for his signature. DeSantis is expected to seek the Republican nomination for the president of 2024. U.S. President Joe Biden, on a visit to Dublin, spoke about the special relationship between Ireland and the U.S. as he addressed guests at the state banquet held in his honor. The U.S. President Biden said he felt incredibly lucky to be welcomed by so many people on his visit to the island. The Irish Prime Minister also praised their relationship before congratulating Biden on his stance in Ukraine. Almost on the last leg of his tour in Ireland, he will visit the west coast of Ireland to meet relatives from another side of his family before heading back to the U.S. Paris saw clashes erupt between protesters and riot police on the 12th day of nationwide strikes against President Emmanuel Macron's unpopular pension bill. Riot police fired tear gas or charged at demonstrators in a bid to disperse them. Several people were also arrested. Trade unions urged a show of force on the streets a day before the Constitutional Council's ruling on the legality of the bill that will raise the state pension age by 2 years to 64. Ukrainian soldiers have shot at Russian infantry near Bakhmut using a Soviet-made D-30 howitzer. The D-30 has an effective range of a little more than 15 kilometers using regular shells. Ukraine's President Zelensky and other senior officials are pressing allies for more weapons in hopes to launch a major counteroffensive later this year. The unit's commander expressed that with common effort and the correct strategy, Ukraine will be able to liberate all the occupied territory, including Crimea. Footage released by NATO shows Ukrainian tank operators driving Leopard tanks during their 30-day training on the vehicles to be used to fight Russia's invasion. The footage showed tanks driving and firing their main guns, as well as Ukrainians using simulators at the Leopard Training Center in Poland. India is providing consular assistance to 8 former Indian Navy personnel detained in Qatar over unrevealed charges. India's Ministry of External Affairs stated in a briefing in New Delhi they were employed by a private company and were apprehended in Doha in October of last year. India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson has stated that India is making every effort to assist the detained Indians. The next day of the hearing in the court case involving the 8 Indians is scheduled for May. Armed attackers in southwestern Ecuador killed 3 female guards outside a jail. The massive prison complex in Ecuador's biggest city of Guayaquil is notorious for massacres committed by rival gangs vying for power within the prison. Ecuadorian police confirmed the deaths and tweeted that reinforcements have been deployed in order to find those responsible for this criminal act. Guayaquil is one of the hardest hit places by the recent surge in violence related to gang and drug trafficking. An exchange of nearly 900 prisoners from Yemen's civil war has started in Houthi. Prisoners could be seen at Aden International Airport ahead of boarding on a flight bound for Sana'a. The Houthis are releasing 181 prisoners, including Saudis and Sudanese, in exchange for 706 detainees held by the government forces, according to an agreement reached last month in Switzerland. The International Committee of the Red Cross is managing the process, and its planes would be used to carry the released detainees between 6 cities in Yemen and Saudi Arabia. Yellow, purple and other colored flowers are blossoming amid the cactus on hillsides near Lake Havasu City, Golden Valley and other parts of Arizona, as the wet winter in the southwest has resulted in a super bloom of wildflowers. California's iconic super blooms occur sporadically, usually after winters, with higher than average precipitation and attract many sightseers. However, California and some other communities are discouraging tourists from coming to see the blooms to prevent damage to the fragile plants. Teachers of Billy High School in Afghanistan carry inner tubes when they leave their homes to get to their schools. Well, they use inner tubes to commute to the schools where they teach, paddling their rafts across fast-moving water to get to the other side of the 46-meter wide river. There are no bridges or boats to make the journey easier, and for years, 12 of the 15 staff have used these means of transport, weathering high water levels after the rains. Actor Jared Drake Bell was found safe shortly after he was considered missing and endangered. Confirming the news, he wrote on his social media, and we quote here, "You leave your phone in the car and don't answer for the night, and this is what happens." Well, Bell was initially reported missing by the Beach Police Department in Florida. He is best known for his role as Drake Parker in the popular show Draker and Josh, which aired in early 2000s. Warner Brothers Discovery streaming service Max is developing a TV series based on the Conjuring horror franchise. The franchise includes 8 movies which have grossed over $2 billion at the worldwide box office. The Conjuring is a horror film released in 2013 that marked the beginning of the Conjuring universe franchise. The film was inspired by their alleged true stories, which also served as the basis for the Amityville horror. In the movie, the Warrens help the Person family deal with terrifying supernatural events that occurred in their home in Rhode Island in 1971.